I was a bacher in yeshiva at the time, and needless to say, this was a tremendous shake-up for the bachrim, who heard words that they never heard before. The following Shabbos, Tazria Mitzera, is when the Rebbe famously spoke that the derech ha-yeshara to bring the Geula is by learning in Yonim, in Torah, about Mashiach and Geula. Mitzvah Shabbos, there was a big meeting in 770 of Bachrim. And they created little groups of Bachrim that would take on certain things. For instance, some Bachrim would work on strengthening this Darim of the yeshiva. Some would work on sending out Bachrim to go speak in other yeshivas outside of Crown Heights in the New York area. So amongst the Bachrim, there was talk of creating a likut of the Rebbe's Sichos on this topic that could be studied both in Chabad and throughout the world. Some Bachrim approached members of the Vad Lafatzes Sichos. A group of 7 or 8 Sichos was put together, prepared as a kuntris and given into the Rebbe, and that is this kuntris called Likutis Sichos B'inyani Geula Mashiach Aleph. And this came out Sunday, Zion Iyar, the day after the Sicha of Tazria Mitzera, and it has within it 8 Sichos from Likutis Sichos about this topic of Geula and Mashiach. This became the go-to book to really take the Rebbe's words from the Shabbos Farbrengen and to put it into action. There was a request from the Hebrew-speaking to translate the Sichos into Hebrew because the Sichos from Likutis Sichos were muge in Yiddish. From the 8 Sichos that were published in the first booklet, they chose the 4 that were the more lamdish Sichos and that had Hebrew translations, and prepared for print another kuntris called Chidushim Ubiyurim Behilchos Melachim Prakim Yud Aleph and Yud Beis. Here already, the Sicha from Tazria Mitzera was already muge, so they quoted in the Pesach Davar the words that the Rebbe says that the derech ha-yeshara to be mezarez bias Mashiach tzidkenu b'peil mamash is through learning, and this came out on Thursday after the Shabbos that the Rebbe spoke Tazria Mitzera. And during that time, the Rebbe would be magia a sicha from the Shabbos Farbrengen every single week. And in order to accommodate both the Yiddish-speaking crowd and the Hebrew-speaking crowd, they would alternate. 1 week the Rebbe would be magia in Hebrew and 1 week in Yiddish. When the sicha was mugi in Yiddish, the Kfar Chabad would translate the sicha into Hebrew and they would publish a translation. This section of the Kfar Chabad that had the sicha was called Dvar Malchus. There was a Hisayrus in Eretz Yisrael by some Chassidim, led by Rabbi Tuvia Peles, to share the Sichos that the Rebbe was speaking with the whole country, with the whole Israel. When he asked the Rebbe that rather than just make copies of the Kfar Chabad, it should be published as its own booklet, the Rebbe agreed, and from that week on, the copies now became a booklet called Dvar Malchus, and it contained the Mugadik Sicha from the Shabbos before. If there was a Mugadik Maimer, he would put that in. So as soon as this booklet came out in New York, he had it sent over to Israel, and he published a special edition of the Dvar Malchus with the Sichos about Inyani Geula Mashiach. By Sunday, it's printed in Israel, and by Monday, a copy already arrives to the Rebbe in 770. Tesvov Iyar. The Rebbe comes out of his room 3:15 to go to Mincha, and he's holding in his hand the Dvar Malchus that just arrived from Israel. Hitzah Miyuched, a special edition, and he hands it to Rabbi Groner, and he says to him, "Mir soll das abdrucken zu teilen nach Ma'ariv, kemay shehu mit der Hakdasha." Exactly the way it goes with the dedication in the back. The dedication in the back was a very personal one. It was for the Rebbe's brother, whose yahrzeit was 2 days before, on Shabbos Yud Gimel Iyar. After Mincha was over, approximately 3:30, the Rebbe walked over to the second stender and started to speak a Sikha. Sikha is very Geshmak Sikha. The Rebbe spoke about the continuity of the 3 days. Shabbos, Sunday being Pesach Sheni, and Monday being Tezvav Iyar, which is Kai Masira Bashlamusa. 3 days straight of Kedusha. And then the Rebbe surprised everyone.
Und all der Gesetz hat vieles Meile wegen den Gmeimer in Pnimis Hatere.
The Rebbe announced in the Sikha that he's going to be giving out a Maimer Chassidus after Ma'ariv, Bli Neder. After the Sikha, the Rebbe gave out dollars. In the middle of the dollars, one of the members of Vadla Sichis came running in, Rabbi Shalom Jacobson. He went over to Rabbi Groner because he had heard that the Rebbe wants that Sikha printed. So understand, it's now 4:15, 4:30 in the afternoon, and he gets the kunters that he has to have ready for after Ma'ariv. And the place that used to print all of the Sfarim that the Rebbe would give out, Kuntresim, as well as Sfarim for Kahas, was a place called Bookmart Press. It was in North Bergen, New Jersey. 45 minutes to an hour drive from Crown Heights. So the earliest he could arrive there is 5 o'clock, 5:30. And he has to print 10,000 booklets to be ready so he can be back in Crown Heights for 8:30 for Ma'ariv, because after Ma'ariv the Rebbe is going to give out this booklet. How such a thing is possible? Only the Rebbe can do that. By the time the Rebbe came out from Ma'ariv, the books did not yet arrive to 770. The Rebbe was going to daven Ma'ariv downstairs, then go back up to his room, and a little while later, come back down to give out the kuntras.
Vom Maskiros von Rabbi soll gesund sein, hat mir gebeten, die begeben. Also wie die Kontereisim sind noch nicht angekommen, wird der Rabbi soll gesund sein, geben die Kontereisim da in Schule, erach 9 Seiger. Schachas hat mir da, wenn morgen der Frühmädchen mal erach 10 Seiger.
It was interesting because the Rebbe usually comes downstairs with a siddur. Here the Rebbe came down, he was finished Ma'ariv already. 770 is packed. It was like Simchas Torah. Because the Rebbe had already notified at 3:30 that there's going to be a Chaluka. Word already got out that this was a kuntres Dvar Malchus. Dvar Malchus, you're talking about the Rebbe's own sichis. That was also unprecedented. The Rebbe had given out a Maimer, given out a Michtav Klali, but not a likut of sichis of his own. And the Rebbe started to give out the Dvar Malchus. It was a sight to behold. The Rebbe's face was beaming. I mean, something very, very special. The Rebbe's talking to people, giving brachas, smiling in a way that was not usually seen in shul, after a davening when the Rebbe would give out dollars, or even during a Chaluka, because the Chaluka usually went very quickly. The Rebbe spent the next 3 hours, and the Rebbe gave out a total of 6,500 kuntreisim approximately, and then took 2 for himself. There were 2. There was light blue and light green. The Rebbe had 1 of each for himself. Imagine that Chassidim were not in a rush to go home. People sat down and just started learning. Learning not just a sikha from the Rebbe, but learning a sikha from the Rebbe that they just received from the Rebbe's holy hand. I mean, what a schus, what a treasure. Rarely did the Rebbe give out his own Torah. And obviously if he gave it out, he wants us to learn it. And learn it not just to learn it, but learn it so it becomes part of us, so we start to think differently and act differently and live differently. That was the reason why the Rebbe gave it out. And that is eternal. Whether you were physically there and you got the kunters from the Rebbe, or you weren't there and you're learning the kunters now for the first time, the effect is the same, the goal is the same, the impact is the same. To internalize the Rebbe's Torah, and that is the derech hayishara to be mizares bias Mashiach tzidkenu b'peil mamash.